so you're back.
Yes. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah. We all ended up getting COVID over here too. Forget the squeaky chair, but yeah, had COVID for a minute. Everyone over here ended up getting COVID, as tends to happen. So it's wild. I got over it very quickly. My daughter got over it even faster than I did, but my wife is still hit with it. Like she's still testing positive. Like we're all negative and she's still testing positive. So the way it hits everybody's so radically different. Some people it just lays them out completely. Some people it's like, yay. And so it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, and Jason fighting long COVID right now, and so that is why we have taken the mantle and are moving forward and still doing this stuff. But obviously, Jason's health and welfare is priority number 1, number 2, and number 3. So we love doing this stuff, and thanks to everybody who has been out there and listening to everything and contributing to everything and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, biggest thing for Jason right now is just to make sure that as he's fighting this as hard as he can, that he's got to look out for number 1. And long COVID sucks. I guess we should have Hudson do that for a T-shirt.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that I don't think people realize the amount of as we've been trying to navigate all of this. There have been some game calling events that because Jason doesn't call just Atlanta United stuff.
Yeah,
he also covers NPSL stuff and and some of those games. He's like, hey man, look, I'm still laid up. Can you go cover this? Let me tell you something. Game prep to call a game is a hell of a lot harder than I think people realize, because I think I have a pretty decent handle on how to to study for something, especially soccer related. And in the middle of the game, I'm like, okay, I'm already out of material. I'm 15 minutes in, I'm out of material. I've burned through everything. Spacing
and pacing, sir. That's how it goes.
It is, but that's a learned thing, right? That's a learned thing. And so for but I do see the tweets where people are saying, when's live shows coming back and things like that. We appreciate all of it, and so it's we know you guys have been this for a long time, but as we've said, priority 1 is getting Jason back to where, because I don't know if people realize this, there's not exactly like massive paychecks being handed out through the SDH network. So the man's bread and butter is calling games for Atlanta United. So we got to make sure he's good to go on the activities that put the food on the table and keep the lights on, because one of those things you got to, running water's nice.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Running water and electricity are 2 things that we approve of. But so, long COVID sucks. That's the new T-shirt and the new mantra here at SDH. But we'll be back on Mondays when Nick is up and around and able, and we will do the shows live on the Twitch, as I am now learning very rudimentarily, if that's an adverb, how to do these things on a daily basis. So so looking forward to having Nick back live and in person sooner rather than later.
We'll get back to picks of the week and all that stuff. I know I missed picks of the week. It was the thing that helped, especially on like a Saturday and Sunday, prepping for those picks of the week. It was a lot of fun. We never know where it's going to go. I miss like Flying Robot Nuclear Squirrel FC out of like Southeast Vietnam. We miss all this stuff. So we're getting back to it. But there's so much this week that we have to get into.
Yeah. So hit me. What's number 1 on the list? Hit me.
Chernobyl FC, otherwise known as Manchester United.
We're not talking Russian Premier League already? Well, you mentioned Chernobyl FC. That's why I went with Russia.
Well, that's Ukraine. It's in Ukraine, but
okay. So then, the Ukrainian Premier League is back in 8 days, by the way. So
well, there we go. So look, the big thing here is that we've been saying for a long time on this show. There are a lot of people who throw stuff out for hot takes, and there's a lot of and we see you. 2-letter sport out of wherever we see you. But we've been saying this for a long time, and we've been saying it very earnestly, that Manchester United is a team that is dead man walking. We've been saying it for a long time. And I thought Ralph Rangnick was going to be the answer. He was not. I know Jason thought that, that Ten Hag would probably have a little bit more success than what he's had so far. Obviously, we all knew that it was going to be a disaster show walking in. But there's one thing I want to point out. Has anyone seen the pictures of Jose Mourinho?
Yes.
As of late, coaching Roma. His skin looks incredible. He looks like he's de-aged, like he's been going through like the Marvel Universe de-aging process.
Amen. Ukrainian TV presenters will do that to you.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, but I mean, look, the amount of stress that's off that guy's shoulders, and he said, "Look, getting them to second is probably the greatest coaching, accolade of my career." I think we're seeing when he first said it, everyone was like, "Okay, sure thing, buddy, right?" And now we're all like, "Oh."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And when Ralph Rangnick, excuse me, part of getting over COVID is the fact that my voice will occasionally cut out. But
yes.
Ralph Rangnick said the issue is not the system. The issue is not, the game plan. It's pretty easy to identify where the issue is. And one of the things that we talked about when Rangnick came on is that Rangnick's system, that Red Bull style system, the gegenpressing, is cultural. You must be completely bought in or gaps will appear all over the place. And it's clear to see that Man U was not bought in on that, the work rate necessary to execute that system. And what happened? Rangnick's gone. Erik ten Hag comes in. Even though it's the Ajax system, possession, you press to get the ball back. Right? Like you press to get the ball back and then immediately you start distributing the ball. Well, Man United doesn't seem to be able to do that. At least the pressing part. They don't seem very interested in working to get the ball back. And when they do get the ball back, they don't really seem to be able to do anything with it. Now, I'll say this about the Ajax system.
Yeah.
Because this is something that I believe that it's going to sound really goofy, and I probably have COVID brain, so it's not going to come out right. But
okay, we got space and time. That's all you need.
Got space and time. I think the Ajax system. If just think, anyone who's watching this, think about your friends who are a native level speaker of a foreign language, right? Italian, Spanish, French, whatever. And you say, I would really like to learn that. And they're like, I can get you fluent in like 3 months, bro. No problem. Right? Because to them, it's like, of course, it's stupid easy. Like, English is hard. Are you kidding me? This is easy. They work with you for a while. 6 months goes by. A year goes by. You're still not getting it. Okay. But for the person who's native level, this is a very easy the concepts are easy. I don't understand why you're not getting this. I think it's the same thing for Ajax because these guys come through the system from the time they're like U8 all the way up to the first team. They're used to speaking one language. They're used to the one style, like we do this, and this. The flavor may shift subtly. However, the basic concepts are the same across the board. Why can no one else seem to get this? This should take like 90 days to install. I don't understand why this is so difficult. I think the Ajax system requires the same level of cultural buy-in that the Red Bull system does, but from a thinking perspective outside of the Red Bull style, which is more the physical buy-in. We know how much you run. We know how to exert. We know, when the dead periods are going to come. But for Ajax, the brain has to be switched on all the time. And you have players at Man U who are not physically invested in the game. I don't care how many sit-ups and crunches and planks Ronaldo's doing while he's, drinking, the purified mountain spring water from the Andes Mountains, handed by only Vestal virgins who deliver it in onyx clay pots or whatever, delivered to his doorstep. I don't care if he's only eating farm to table, food with no salt, oils, or anything else. He's past it. That does not mean he was never great. It means he's past it now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a good enough player where before he was a one-man nuclear weapon who could will a team to victory. He's not that guy anymore. And we saw it at Juventus, really. We saw the fall off. He did really well at Juve, but then he fell off. And then he went to Man U, and people were expecting the same stuff. It didn't happen. And so I think it really is time for him to look at the next phase of his career. I know he says, I want to go to a Champions League contender. I want to go to a Champions League contender. He's not that guy. Teams are not going to spill, 30, 40, 50 million for Cristiano Ronaldo. It's not happening. If it was going to happen, it would happen by now. Somebody would have at least said, hey, look, we'll do a loan with an option to buy to get him in. No one's doing that. No one, the latest thing, and it's Tancredi Palmieri. I mean, grains of salt.
Yes.
Allegedly, Ronaldo was offered to Inter and Milan. Both said no. This is a team, Milan, that took on Olivier Giroud and Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Uh-huh.
No, we don't want Ronaldo. We're good, thanks. The market has dried up for him. He's not the same guy. The players in that team, there's something rotten in that locker room that's not going to be solved quickly. There's that Ajax system requires a certain amount of buy-in, brain power wise, an investment that these players aren't going to give. That's not Eric Ten Hag's fault. That's not Ralph Rangnick's fault. And the fact that no one has called up Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with what he did with that squad and hired him, because that dude needs to be coaches somewhere. I mean, the fact that he pulled off that coaching job with this group of bums is amazing. But what?
Did you see in the loss to Brentford?
Uh-huh.
Well, first and foremost, losing to Brentford at G-Tech 4-0, and it was over quickly. Did you see the moment, I want to say it was in the 37th, where Manchester United player was down on his back, being looked at by the physios, and they bring out the Lucozade bottles and the group of the 6-packs available. So the 6-pack was next to the player's laying on his back off his right hip, close to like his short ribs. Cristiano Ronaldo steps over the player to get to the water bottles to take his squirt of Lucozade. That, to me, is part and parcel. That should tell you everything you need to know about where this individual is when it comes to his own minutes, his own stuff, and how he's impacting this roster.
Yeah.
Negative. Gotta go.
Yeah. And again, people hear anything about Ronaldo and Messi, and automatically, if it's in the negative, it's like, this guy knows nothing. This guy's a bum. This guy's terrible. You have no concept of world football. But brother, look, I've watched all of the greats decline. All of the greats decline.
They all do.
Right? I watched Brazilian Ronaldo, phenomenal, go from, he was the one player, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, he's the one player that whenever he got the ball against Milan, I was terrified. I was like, it's going in. The minute the ball got to his feet, it's going in. Because he was that good. And I watched injury after injury after injury take that man down. And I watched him as a shell of himself play for AC Milan. I watched, I was very young, but I watched Maradona, end up flaming out toward the end. Because, drugs, booze, and party and all that took its toll. I watched Roberto Baggio, right? I've watched these greats that, Zinedine Zidane. The list goes on and on and on. These guys who were incredible. Francesco Totti, watched him decline. Watched Maldini, the great Maldini, even start missing a step, missing tackles he used to make. Nesta, watched the same thing. you see these guys, these lions, right? These people who, in a long distance day, would have had statues dedicated to them. They would have had cast bronze colossus statues of these men made fall down because I know we're spoiled watching. We watched Jordan come back and play at a high level from retirement. We watched, we're still watching Tom Brady go. Time is undefeated though.
Mm-hmm.
And Ronaldo is a guy, he has physically changed his body over the years to stay competitive to an unbelievable degree. The man's dedication to fitness and training is second to none. But no one wants him on their team that he would, be okay with going. Allegedly there was Atletico Madrid. Nah, we're good, thanks. Inter and Milan, allegedly. Nope, we're good, thanks. Man City was like, like even last year, we're like, nah, we're good, thanks. The world has passed him by, and that's not a bad thing. It's just time. It doesn't mean that your entire worldview is skewed because we're saying Ronaldo needs to find something else to do. And that could mean going to play in Portugal, right? He could go play for Sporting. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get a transfer. They need to do a mutual termination of contract and let that man go where he wants to go for whoever's willing to pay him what he wants to make.
Saudi Arabia?
No, he would walk away from the game before he did that.
Okay.
I mean, I think for him it would be like Portugal, like Sporting or MLS if an MLS team will take him, and that would be a wrap. And then that's the last gasp of for the big contract. But Man United as a team has a very good collection of players. They have nothing resembling a team. Nothing. I saw nothing in that Brentford game, right? And I saw nothing in that Brighton game that said, yeah, they're going to be okay. Like sometimes, especially with this Dutch system, your assignment wise, especially in the cycling, can get messed up and there could be some sloppy turnovers as a result. Frank de Boer, that's why he always, I think, went more for the defensive solidarity. I'm going to teach you boys defense first, and then I'm going to teach you about the cycles. So that way, when we get the ball, we can keep it. But in the early days, when we lose it, we know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything from them. De Gea is over, is done. De Gea's off the cliff. He's gone. It's a wrap. He needs to. And the problem is, there's no easy answers. It's not like you can go out and just call up, some team and be like, all right. I mean, the best thing you could do is call PSG and try to get Navas if he's still under contract. But I mean, Keylor Navas is somebody that I think, man, you could probably target and probably get for a pretty decent price. There's talk of him trying to go to Napoli, but we'll see how that goes. But you need a new keeper. You need new players in the midfield. You need Ronaldo off your roster. And the best thing that the board can do, I'm about to have a pitch invader.
Wouldn't be a show if you didn't have a pitch invader.
Monday night.
Yeah, man.
The best thing that can happen to this board that has screwed so much up, is to come out, and I mean the Glazers. I'm not talking about some kind of intermediary. I'm not talking about somebody. The Glazers themselves need to put out a video that says, we will finish in 20th place before we fire Erik ten Hag. We don't care. This is a long-term project. He's not going anywhere. And down in the locker room, mix that same message with a ton of F-bombs and let these players know, we will send all of you to the Mongolian second division for nothing before we fire Erik ten Hag. He's not going anywhere. I don't care if you don't like him. I don't care if you want him out. I don't care if you don't like the system. You don't understand it. You don't grasp it. That's a you problem, not an us problem. Because next year, when we're playing some 17-year-old in your position, for a tenth of the amount of money that you're making, Man United's going to be in a better spot. Erik ten Hag's going to be in a better spot. And you're going to be on with your diminishing resources doing whatever it is you're going to do. I don't blame him for canceling the day off. I don't blame him for making the players run the 8 miles that the Brentford players ran, 8 kilometers that the Brentford players ran. I don't care. Because we've seen it time and time again where at Ajax, these coaches are unbelievably successful. Hate Frank de Boer all you want. Roll out the Jose Mourinho clip of the Western manager in Premier League history. I don't care. The stories that came out of Crystal Palace were the youth teams playing the de Boer system to a T were beating the first team with regularity. Don't tell me the system doesn't work. Tell me about the players who haven't bought in and make the whole thing fall apart. It's the same thing here with Ten Hag and you. The players aren't bought in. It's falling apart. None of these guys are Louis van Gaal, who, running a very similar system, got more buy-in because the guy did not care. The guy's like, I'll sit you on the bench forever. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. The system works if you buy in. If you don't buy into the system, though, you're going to get ran by teams like Brighton and teams like Brentford. That was my favorite quote from the whole thing. The announcer says, this hasn't happened since World War II. Like, yeah, that's on the players. That should tell you something.
That should tell you something.
You're telling me that a Champions League semifinalist, a guy who got a team to the Champions League semifinals, doesn't know how to coach a team? You don't get to the Champions League semifinals not knowing how to coach. I'm sorry. I don't. No, you can't. If your answer is, well, yeah, they can't. They have a great. No. You've got your mental toilet is completely clogged if that's the case. Get the mental rotor-rooter and get that stuff out, because you don't get that far and be that competitive and not know what you're doing with a roster that costs like a quarter of what everyone else's rosters at that stage cost. You know how to coach. Erik ten Hag is an unbelievable manager. He's the best manager on the market available. And this isn't Ten Hag's fault. And I'll await hate mail. It's not Ralph Rangnick's fault. It's not
Ole's fault. Nope.
No, it's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's fault. And it's certainly not Jose Mourinho's fault. It is the number one culprit in this is the board of Manchester United, who is getting high on their own supply and said, we're just going to throw money at problems. Okay, who's a good player we need to get? How much? Yep. How much? Yep. Oh. And then one day they were like, let's go bargain bin shopping to solve these problems. Yeah. And they got substandard players. Now you're telling me Rabiot is going to solve your problem? Nope. Don't tell me any of these older players are going to solve your problems. None of these older players are going to solve your problems. You are in line to suck. You need to go, and I don't care. Get mad because people get on their feelings about this. Again, the board needs to come out and be like, hey, gang, we're going to kind of suck for a couple of years while we get people in here who want to wear the shirt. And it's just part of the process. You should know that we're going to spend a ton of money, but we got guaranteed contracts here that we got to jettison before we can make that happen. And when that happens, I know you guys want us out. I know you guys say Glazers out, Americans out, debt buyers out, whatever. We understand. We hear what you're saying. We're going to flush this current group, the vast majority of them, out of the system. And we are going to find players who want to come here, put on a red shirt, and ball out. Do the Mike Krzyzewski thing, take the names off the back of the shirts. Only numbers. All the TV, whatever else is the dressed up superstar locker room. Nope. They can't sit in the seats. They got to sit on wooden benches. I make it happen. But you got to get this current group out. And it's going to take a long time to do it because of bad business decisions that were made at the top. There's no manager on earth who could solve this problem. If you could convince Pep Guardiola to go from blue to red. Wouldn't solve the problem. You could get Carlo Ancelotti from Real Madrid. Not solving the problem. You could get prime Jose Mourinho from a time machine. It's not going to solve your problem. There's nothing out there that's going to solve your problem except getting these bums that have been overpaid to start with out, and a change of leadership at the top with a coherent strategy. You're not going to get the top changed. There's too much money invested. We're talking billions of dollars. So then you have to have stability at the management position, at a leadership position. Eric Ten Hag has to stay. The rest of the bums cycle through. You call some kids up and say, look, I see you playing my style of ball. You're going to be on the team. If you're not, I don't care where you go, but you're going to get up out of here.
You can't stay here.
Can't stay here. So Man United's a disaster zone.
Yes.
They're an absolute disaster zone. It's not a hot take. If you watch that game and say anything else, I don't care if they win the next 2 games. You don't lose to Brentford 4-0.
No.
Right? And I'm correct. It was 4-0 at the half, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. 4-0 at the half. Yeah. No. And I think it's even worse. I think if they come back and they win the next 2 games, I think it's even worse because it shows that it was a player mentality issue and nothing else. And again, Ronaldo I don't know what needs to happen to Ronaldo. They need to cancel the contract, get out of it somehow, and be on their way. And just take the profit loss, take the P&L loss, and you call it good. You make more than enough money for Manchester United to eat that loss. It is what it is.
And just so you know, they are Monday Night Football on a week from today, at home.
Yep.
Against Liverpool.
Well, I mean, that's not quite as daunting of a prospect after watching Liverpool today.
And they won't have Darwin Nunez for that match.
No, God, what a stupid headbutt that was. Look, you're going to run into guys that play that are just gifted at being a problem. They're gifted at with just blessing the field with chaotic energy. We have one or two of those guys on Atlanta United. They're out there, and Marco Materazzi is the prime guy in my mind. He's the one who got. He's the guy who got Zinedine Zidane to headbutt him in the World Cup final.
That is true.
By making some just terrible comments about Zidane's sister.
But you got in his head.
Got in his head. Zidane turns around, parks that chrome dome right in the chest. Italy wins the World Cup. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Nunez has got to understand that if you're a really good player, the minute you show that you're temperamental, these goons are going to get in they're going to use every Jedi mind trick humanly possible to get you out of the game. If Nunez is in, I don't know if Liverpool walks out with a draw today, but it happened the way it happened. They walked out with a draw, and this could go one of 2 ways for Man U. You're going to get a struggling Liverpool side, like just from a mental perspective, like, all right, we kind of got to get sorted. We got to get our bearings together. They don't look to me to be a team that really needs a lot of sorting because, you get that. You saw that Mo Salah shot when he put the ball just wide of the left post. It didn't miss by very much, and that would have been a game. That would have been game over. To me, Liverpool looks like a team that could come out against Man U and just go full throttle down and annihilate that side. You're talking about a side that's trying to learn how to play from the back of this Dutch system. You're talking about a side that's trying to work to keep the ball. And if Klopp pushes the right buttons this week, it could be a big red buzzsaw. Go ahead. Manchester United. It's going to be very interesting to see because it's either going to be a game where because Man U does not know how to play their system. They can mentally step up to play, but they're not comfortable in the system yet. So it's either you throw everything back and try to just give the ball to Liverpool and try to see what they could do. They're too good of a team to do that too, because they have too much individual talent, unlike a lot of the other high press teams. But this could be like another Brentford situation where they could be down 4-0 at half. The talent's there, and it just depends on it. But it's Liverpool's. It's the ball's in Liverpool's court on how they respond following today, where you have a couple of tough draws. The next game, all right, boys, we got to kind of put up or shut up here, because you're in a different stratosphere if you're Liverpool. You can't give up points because Man City has essentially football's Terminator up top now. And he looks like he's in like Flynn. He doesn't look like Ibrahimovic at Barcelona. He looks like somebody who's like, yep, I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly how I need to play. And we're just going to put the ball in the back of the net a bunch. Liverpool has to get sorted very early. They're one of the few teams with greatness comes expectation. The expectation now for them is to win every game out of the gate, because I don't see too many games where City's going to lose. The only time I can see that happening is either right before the World Cup or right after the World Cup. That's about it. Outside of that, they are a stanky good stanky good.
You have Kevin De Bruyne, who is on the line behind.
Yeah,
who kind of helps things out and then lets the Terminator work his way forward.
Yep.
And it was, I think that when you mentioned Holland, that first step that you see from him. Yep. And he is an absolute freak. And if there's a ball sent in behind, the first step to get past the defender, and all of a sudden, if you're the defender, you're looking, it's like, man, that was a big first step.
Right. It's like it's like in the Olympics when Usain Bolt first came onto the scene.
Yeah.
And all of us who had been watching track and field for a while, we're used to a certain, like, even if you're really fast, and all these guys are Olympic level athletes, they're all stupid fast. But Usain Bolt was almost like a full, like, head and a half taller than all of them.
Yep.
And that first step, you nailed it. That first step, you're like, oh my God, he's already like 2 body lengths ahead of everybody else. And that was just his takeoff. That's not like, he hasn't reached peak acceleration yet. The same thing with Erling Haaland. I mean, the guy, when he opens up that gate and just starts, you can see the horses going. There's not too many people out there outside of like a 1987, English championship level challenge that is going to stop him. And I don't even think that would bring him down. I mean, the guy's too big all around. I mean, he's just a monster.
The 0 to 50 on Erling Haaland is ridiculous.
Yeah. His top end is just bonkers. But, Man City's going to, it looks like they're just going to slaughter everyone put in front of them. The only team that I think could really cause them problems, everyone prepare to laugh, I think is going to be Spurs. I think because Conte is not tied to some sort of expansion play philosophy that's going to, we play beautifully, we go wide, we pass around. No. He has no problems throwing cinder blocks in front of anyone who needs cinder blocks thrown in front of him to slow him down. And I think Spurs could be probably the more difficult challenge for them. I am by no means a Spurs fan. I am well aware of that, so Spursy, which means that the times that they do play, it's not really going to mean anything, because City will be like, is going to be humming on all cylinders. But I think the one person who could throw a few problems their way could be my boy Antonio Conte at Spurs.
The master of the segue here on the 10-minute warning. So I'm guessing that in a battle, if it was just Antonio Conte and Thomas Tuchel, my guess is that you would vote for Antonio Conte in a 1v1 with hands being thrown with those two, which almost came to pass at the end of Spurs and Chelsea, which was a fantastically chaotic match on the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Antonio Conte's a leche boy, man. I'm not, nope. You don't want, no. You don't want any of that Southern Italian heat because he's going to knife fight. Like, they'll be like, okay, look, we're just using fists, right? Yeah. It's no problem. We just use the fist. It's no problem. And I mean, Antonio Conte is a hard man. I get that he's got like a muskrat staple gun to the top of his head or something, but
true, yeah.
But now Tuchel is lanky, right? He's like that tall, lanky guy. You're gonna get hit coming in. Like when you're a short guy, you learn very early on that you're not gonna get out of a fight without taking a few hits. Part of the reason that this mug looks the way it looks, but because these tall guys will sit back and just. And so, but once Conte gets past that first combo and he wraps up, it's over. It's done because, I mean, Conte's the guy. He's gonna bite your nose. He's gonna like rip your earlobe off. He'll fish hook you. There's no world. All my money's going on Conte. I don't care. I get it. Tuchel's too much of a heel, where I don't think he has that dog in him. Like he could throw some hands, but if the fight gets really nasty, I don't think he's got that dog in him. Like, no, I'm gonna rip your ear off, buddy. Antonio Conte's got that.
Because I figure if you're Thomas Tuchel, you take your height advantage and your reach advantage, and you try to keep any opposition away. You use the jab to kind of keep your opponent out in front of you, and then follow it in from behind. It would be up to Antonio Conte to try to find a way to get past the jab, work to the inside, and then get to the body shots.
Well, the key thing for Tuchel would be I want to know how good his jab game is, and I also want to know what his sprawl game is like. Because when Conte goes to shoot in, if he shoots in and Tuchel's his sprawl game is good, and he could go tie clinch, sprawl, and use those long legs to start kneeing, we may be talking about a different fight here. But if his sprawl game's no good and his jab's a little dicey, nah. Conte could come right in, boom, do, knife him a few times, take him down. Nah.
So then let me ask you this. So after the match, Thomas Tuchel, when he was asked about it, it's like, it's the emotion of the match, no hard feelings. That's all the emotion. That's what it's there for. But if, you're in a situation where Tuchel, as the two of them are coming to the post-match handshake, and Antonio Conte looks like he's going for the drive-by. It's like the drive-by and he's working past. Tuchel grabs him and literally wants to try to break his hand and to remind Conte on the drive-by, look me in the eye when you shake my hand. And that's what kind of started it, because you see the dive in to shake the hands. Conte's going past. He's not looking at Tuchel. Tuchel clamps down. You see Conte recoil like, wah! And then it was on where you had like 20 dudes in a pile instantly. But the thing from Tuchel pointed to his eyes and he's like, look me in the eyes when you shake my hand.
Nah, see, look, you're asking to get hit. There are a lot of people who put pride on the line, and I have to use some Pulp Fiction here.
Okay.
Right. At the night of the fight, you're going to feel a slight sting, and that's pride blanking with you. Pride only hurts. It never helps. And Tuchel wanted that pride moment of look me in the eye, gladiator to gladiator, and shake my hand. I get that. I understand it. Me, whether you want to fight me or be my friend, I'm going to look you in the eyes, right? I'm going to look you right in the eyes. But if I know I'm going to do something that my temper, I'm in the red zone, right? The psychologists, they do like green, yellow, red.
Right.
When you're in red zone, all you want to do is get out. You want to get out of the situation. You know you're going to do something explosive and stupid. I'm just going to give you the fish handshake and be on my way, because it's better than me putting 5 into your teeth. If you grab my hand and you shake it like that, you're just saying you're ready to go. All you're telling me is, in front of all these fans and in front of all these TV cameras and satellite feeds and everything else, that now you've brought some manhood into the equation. And if you're not letting go of my hand, that tells me that I need to throw before you throw. Because all you're telling me is you want to keep me close. Okay, good. You want to keep me close. I'm assuming you're going to throw. So good. We're in, and now we're going. And that's why I don't blame Antonio Conte for his reaction. I understand there's going to be some people like, well, you should look him in the eye. Okay, great. Good for you. But, there's the quick handshake and you're walking on your way. That's fine. But don't ask everyone to treat every situation exactly as you do, right? Because that doesn't happen. We're all different. We all have different thermostats. We all have, different levels of dealing with, with what we consider to be problematic situations. And Antonio Conte's situation, I can tell you, I've seen that look a million times. Antonio Conte was ready to put that dude on the ground, but walking up to him was ready to go to fisticuffs. And as soon as Tuchel grabbed the hand and wouldn't let go, Antonio's like, all right, I guess we got to go. It's like the old days at Lecce. I guess we got to be, back when he had legitimate real hair. We're going. So, I don't blame him, but, Tuchel, I think Tuchel's probably feeling pretty proud of himself, that Conte ended up, seeing red there.
Yeah.
Because he got what he wanted out of the deal. And as far as Tuchel goes, we've discussed him and sort of his exploits in his coaching career. He's never been known as a really good guy to begin with. So I'm not terribly shocked by that. But it will be interesting to see what happens going forward. I imagine that there are emissaries from Spurs and from Chelsea who are reaching out, who are trying to say, hey, look, before the next time we meet up, wherever that may be, let's make sure that both of these guys know that there's going to be no stupidity on the sidelines. Because, Antonio may say, hey, look, I already saw one card. Depending on where we are on the table, my boys may need something to fire them up. Maybe if I just sprint down there and, put old Skeletor on the ground and start, throwing hands, maybe that will be the sort of the catalyst that we need. And this could be the catalyst now for Spurs. It could be that thing that fires them up, goes, yeah, man, our manager's willing to go. If our manager's willing to go and with these guys who've been sort of, problematic for us, man, we're all good. I would much rather see the fight and energy from the staff that I saw with Spurs and Chelsea than what I saw remotely from Man United. I'll tell you that.
Truth. 2-minute warning. What else is on your mind before we go?
Serie A started off this past week. Milan had some moments against their boogeyman Udinese. It looked for a minute like Inter was going to be in a little bit of trouble. They got themselves sorted. Juve, they won. They won like 3-0, man. I don't know if Dinosaur Jr. Allegri is finally taking the handcuffs off of going forward. But I think that, it's not terribly, it's against the Swallow, right? So the Swallow's a team that's in flux at the moment, but this is a team before with Juventus that would have won that game 1-0. They would have won the game 1-0. They would have gone into the low block very early. But without De Ligt, without Chiellini, they don't have the defensive solidarity that they're used to. So I think in some ways Allegri's like, yeah, we got to go forward because I don't feel comfortable enough with the back. So I got to go forward because I got to get the ball away from these goons. So Juve is going to be very interesting to watch. And we all know how much I hate Juve. But as a neutral, Juve will be an interesting team to watch. Vlahovic up at the top. Their attack is certainly stronger than it was previously. They're talking about trying to make some additions. I don't know with what cash. Di Maria is on the team. I mean, obviously, that's going to be something very interesting to watch. Is he going to have what some people have, that Serie A resurgence? The older guys come in and they find that they can use their brain power a bit more and be relevant and competitive. It's going to be interesting to see. Roma is going to be a very interesting team to watch. They seem to be bought in. Obviously with Dybala, if Zaniolo can stay healthy, these are questions that are going to make, whether or not Roma can be a competitor. I think they can be. The winter window is going to be critical for them if they actually invest in the squad. Outside of that, Milan, some issues in the back. They were missing Tonali. Tonali, picked up an injury early on and in the last game, so he's going to be out for a little bit. They looked good. They look good. Ante Rebic, was walking around scoring goals, doing his, money. So he felt disrespected last year, like people were kind of sleeping on him. Obviously, he needs to put on a show. Milan is the team to beat. I don't care. It's not just me as a Milan fan saying that. You got to beat the team who won last year. They know how to win now. They know how to grind out stupid, ugly games. They have a World Player of the Year candidate on their squad. It's absolutely a dynamite team. Inter has had some losses from a player perspective. I believe that Inzaghi knows what he's doing in order to solidify any kind of shortfalls that they may have. It could be a situation of addition by subtraction because you lost some younger guys to step in and develop and play. And, that will certainly help you come some of the tougher winter months in the Italian North. And then there's Lecce, which I thought was going to be one of my relegation candidates. You don't like giving up a goal to a relegation candidate, but you got the win, so you're feeling pretty good. The one game that I would say, hey, look, don't look too much into this is going to be Napoli and Verona. That to me is the game that's where it's Verona. They're a decent enough team. But if you're Napoli, I still think there's so many player issues that they have where they've had to give up substantial talent. They gave up their talisman, Insigne. You're just wanting to get younger. I get it. But I would like to see how they do going forward. I revel in your win. But I would say if you're a Juve fan, you're feeling very good. If you're a Milan fan, you're feeling great. Inter, you're probably like, Roma, you're feeling pretty good. If you're a Napoli fan, you're probably feeling fantastic, but just cautious. Just be cautious. I want to see if they're able to get anything else done. Another team that's going to have a very good, window, this window and next window. That period of time surrounding the World Cup is going to be very challenging for them. But overall, it was a very good weekend for Serie A. It looks to be exciting games all over the place, all over the map, no matter who you support. So looking forward to a good season. Looking forward to a very, very good season and hopefully another red and black Scudetto. That's what I'm hoping for. Red and black Scudetto. One more time.
The only dog that got any kind of a positive result was Torino. They were a slight road dog in their 2-1 win against Monza. So that was the only one that was off of the favorites going forward after week number 1. So welcome back to SOT, sir. And it's good to be back. Good to have you back.
Oh, thank you guys for being patient. As always, we're going to try to get more stuff out the gate for you. We enjoy doing this. We love doing it. So, we will have normal live shows back. But until then, go ahead and prepare yourselves. Ice up for the picks of the week. They're going to be coming before too long. Because, we're going to have to start at scratch. We're going to start at baseline again just to keep things fair and level. But, look, we're back, baby. So go ahead, dig up your third division Mongolian team, your third division, Vietnamese team. We don't care. Just bring it all. We're degenerate gamblers, and we'll have a good time with it.
Send us home.
Until next time, everybody, please stay safe. Please do your best to be respectful and kind to the people around you. And if you get COVID, look, living on Dayquil, Sudafed, Afrin, and spoonfuls of honey to kind of soothe the cough. Even if it's a blip, it still takes a massive hit on you. So if you're one of those few people, I think I held out for 3 2-3 years without getting it. Finally got me. Summer camp, man. These kids go to summer camp. They come home like little outbreak monkeys and give you all the diseases and whatnot. But take care of yourselves. Know that we love you. We appreciate everyone out there who's been asking when the live shows are coming back. We'll get it back as soon as we can. Until then, mucha euro, y'all.